How good is this pitching rotation, ladies and gentlemen? The fact that Bryan Woo is the Mariners' number 5 starter tells you all you need to know about how dominant the Mariners' starting pitching is. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome in and welcome back to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners defeat the Kansas City Royals 4-2. They win the series. They improve to 24-20 on the year. They will enter a day off in first place in the American League West, no matter what happens tonight with the Guardians and Rangers game. I hope you guys are all having a great Wednesday. As always, before I dive into this, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here or you're just lurking. Both are just free, easy ways to help support my channel. And once again, sending the love to every single one of you. And thank you all so much. And yes, I got the Big Dumper t-shirt. So this is a we stand the Big Dumper here. I mean, if you don't, I think every Mariners fan loves the Big Dumper. So got the Big Dumper t-shirt on. I promise, hopefully this weekend I will have the room done. I have been super lazy. Yes, I'm holding on to my golden Mickey for some reason. I always got to have something in my hand. I'm one of those people that's like always got a ball in their hand or something. So, hopefully this weekend I'm going to have the room done. I've just been behind on other things as well. So I've got some cool stuff that's going to go up: the Easley jersey, the Griffey jersey. I'm getting a Mariners flag for the door there. So we're going to have everything rocking and rolling, and a hat rack too to have all my Mariners hats up. All right. You didn't come to listen to my designing techniques and everything like that. You can go watch the Home Shopping Network for all that stuff. You came for the Mariners post-game recap. Great win for the Mariners, 4-2. Bryan Woo was absolutely fantastic. I thought the offense did pretty well. The offense did today that was great. They added on. The Royals would get a run, fight back, and the Mariners answered right back with another run. That's something we've talked about for a while. That it's maybe something the team. The perception is the team struggles with that. That may be one of those things where like every fan base thinks their team is the worst at adding on runs, because it's just frustrating when it doesn't happen and we don't really realize it when they do it. But today, felt they did a real nice job of that, because the Royals were pesky there. They went down very easy for 5 innings, and then they just kept putting on base runners, kept clawing back. And if the Mariners weren't able to play add-on, I don't think they win that baseball game. So real nice job by the offense there. Listen, not an offensive explosion or anything, but again, you're missing Mitch Garver. You're missing Jorge Polanco. You do get Dominic Canzone back today. Sam Haggerty optioned to Tacoma, so Dominic Canzone's back in the lineup. He had a double in this game. You still don't have JP Crawford back. So your lineup is a little bit thin right now. It's just the truth. But they did a nice job finding a way to keep adding on runs and doing just enough to support this pitching staff. Like I said, Bryan Woo is fantastic. Bryan Woo was one of my guys this offseason I talked about a lot. I really thought he was going to take another step forward. I've actually been a bigger Bryan Woo fan than Bryce Miller. Now, Bryce Miller is another guy that's taken a step forward this year, especially with that split finger. But Bryan Woo was kind of my guy. I know he had some struggles against lefties, but I think it was a little overblown. I mean, there's always going to be something that a pitcher, like if Bryan Woo is able to get lefties out the same way he gets righties out, then we're talking about like Greg Maddux. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're that elite, every pitcher is going to have something that they maybe just aren't quite as good at. But Bryan Woo is a tremendous pitcher. Another guy just pounds the strike zone, hitting 95 with these. If Bryan Woo was on a lot of other teams, this guy would be talked about as one of the best young pitchers in baseball. Now, I don't watch a lot of like MLB Network and national coverage. I just don't have time. I used to watch that stuff religiously. Like, I got home and MLB Network was on for 6 hours. That was before I had a family and had other obligations. Sometimes I got to watch the kids' movies and stuff. So I don't know how much Bryan Woo gets talked about nationally, but it doesn't feel like enough, because if he was on a lot of other teams, this would be one of the hot young pitchers in baseball that people be talking about, a future Cy Young Award winner. But because he's on a staff with George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, he's the number 5 guy. And he is much, much more than that. Another just legitimate weapon. It's crazy that the Mariners get into the playoffs. One of these guys is not going to be in the rotation for the playoffs. And it's just insane to think about. Good problem to have. Great problem to have. So I will worry about that if and when the Mariners get to the playoffs. But it's just crazy to think that one of those names will not be in the playoff rotation. And it would probably be Miller or Woo, because barring health things, Castillo Kirby. I always do. Why do I always combine Kirby and Gilbert? I guess you could. Kirby and Gilbert will definitely be in it. I did a Q&A today in the community tab. I'm actually going to do those questions tomorrow. I'm going to answer them tomorrow during the series preview for the Orioles series. So if you have any other questions, go ahead, check out the community tab. It's there. Drop a question. It can be Mariners, Seahawks, personal, as long as it's not too personal. Go ahead and drop the question there. I'll leave that out for another day, and I'll do those answers tomorrow for the series preview. Another great thing about today is just it's a nice bounce back. Yesterday was a frustrating loss. I talked about in the postgame that it didn't bother me too much because you still got a chance to come out today and win the series. The Royals are a really improved team, so I was willing to kind of let that loss go. But what does happen, especially in baseball, football, it's week by week. You have your one game and then it's over. And it stews. It sits with you. Seahawks losses will make me frustrated until Wednesday. Then I finally start getting over them. But in some ways, it's easier to let go because the next game is just completely different. That you can throw the last game out. For baseball, when you're in a series, it's kind of hard because had they lost today, I actually would have become more frustrated by yesterday, if that makes any sense. Because then I would have looked at and been like, not only did you lose today, but you had a winnable game yesterday that you couldn't secure. So now I'm double frustrated. But one of the reasons I'm not super frustrated by yesterday is they bounced back and win today. And winning 2 out of 3 against a much improved Royals team that truthfully, if the season ended today, it does not. But if it did, would be facing the Mariners in a playoff series. So this is a good Royals team that I do think is going to compete for a playoff spot this year. And you took 2 out of 3 from them. You had a 4-2 homestand. You guys know I never anticipate sweeps. It is very hard to sweep a baseball team. That's why we get really excited about it because it just does not happen that often unless you're the 2001 Mariners. But if you can win 2 out of 3, that's a 66% winning percentage. I'm not trying to make a 54% joke. That's a fantastic winning percentage. That's going to take you a long way. Now, you're not going to win every series. The Mariners are going to lose another series eventually. They're going to get swept at some point. But then the hope is that they counter it with a sweep of their own along the way. So, it's why I say baseball is the true definition of a marathon and not a sprint. It is, and it's tough for me because I do post-game recaps, so I talk about each game, but I try to keep big picture in mind with each game, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird. It's a tough sport to do daily recap. I love doing it. I'll talk to you guys 24/7 if I could, but it can be tough to do it because I'm trying to break down the game. But it's also like there's another one tomorrow. So you just kind of got to move on and get going with it. And a much needed day off tomorrow for the Mariners and a huge road trip coming up. You're going to face Baltimore, the Yankees, and an improved Nationals team. Baltimore and the Yankees are teams that you're probably going to see in the postseason if you get there. So good chance for the Mariners to really test themselves. Glad they got this win and got this series win before heading out on this road trip. As I always say, a win before a day off is great. The food tastes a little better. The drive to work feels a little better. You can kind of enjoy a win for 2 days versus one in baseball. It's one of the great things about football when your team wins. You get a whole week to soak in that victory. You don't get that in baseball as much, but we do get now 2 days to enjoy this win. And the team is playing good baseball overall. They really are. You're seeing how this team is built to win. Great starting pitching. Again, I don't think anybody expects this to be the best offense in baseball, but it's hitting the right notes right now. They're getting those nice 2-out hits. They're getting base runners. They're chasing starting pitchers. They're doing little things correct, and they've played much better offensively over the last few weeks. And you're back into and the credit to the bullpen. The bullpen was fantastic tonight. I still stand by they need another reliever. I want to be clear, it's not a knock on the current guys in the pen. I think for the most part, they've all done what you'd expect them to do. As my camera just went out for a second there, hopefully everything's okay. They're all doing what you expect them to do. They're all doing a nice job. But I think you need another higher leverage arm out there. And even saw it a little bit today. Munoz has to get a 5-out save, which is fine. He didn't pitch yesterday. He's going to have tomorrow off. So it's okay. But boy, it would be nice to have someone else you can bring into those spots and then use Munoz for 3 outs. Or use Munoz in that role in the 8th inning today and then have another reliever you trust in the 9th inning. Because you're going to get into the dog days here. And, you're not going to want to have to use Munoz for so many 4 or 5 out saves. And I'd be shocked if they don't make a move for a reliever. Honestly, I think sooner rather than later. And I will still stand my boy Austin Adams, another great beard guy as well. So it doesn't have to be Austin Adams, but somebody, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see something in the next few weeks here, that the Mariners make a move for a reliever. I know it's not the sexiest move. I know people are going to be like, oh, what about, go get Luis Robert and go do this. Like, that's stuff that takes time. Pete Alonso, if you're looking for a first base upgrade. I'm not making any claims if I do these trades or not. I'm just saying for guys like that, those trades take time. That is something that's not an easy thing to do. I'm just using Austin Adams as an example. You could probably call the A's tomorrow and work out a deal for Austin Adams. That's why I think you can make that move fairly quickly. And it's just going to help lengthen that bullpen a little bit, in my opinion. Let's get into the box score here, and then I will get out of here. Bryan Woo, I love Bryan Woo. Man, I love his free, easy delivery. He throws strikes, and he's really good. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 5 Ks. His first win of the year, well-deserved. That 6th inning, he ran into a little bit of trouble. A couple things. He had to wait like 30 minutes in the dugout with that whole umpire issue, which, obviously I hope Jim Wolf's okay. But then it took him like 20 minutes for, I forgot who the other reliever was, Sean Barber, to get into the home plate umpire gear. So Woo's sitting for a long time. Comes out in the 6th inning, gives up a base hit, a walk. Adam Frazier dinks a ball, into left field. It happens. Bobby Witt hits the sac fly to fairly deep center, and that ended Woo's day. But Bryan Woo was absolutely fantastic and dialed in. I do think that weight hurt him a little bit, but a tremendous, tremendous outing from Bryan Woo. So good to have him back. I like Emerson Hancock. I think he can be a good pitcher, but man, Bryan Woo is better. It's not even a question. Gabe Spire, welcome back, Gabe Spire. I say welcome back because his last few outings have been a little shaky. It happens. Relievers get judged on such a small sample size. But Gabe Spire comes in. He gets Pasquantino to pop up in that 6th inning with runners at the corners, then strikes out a very dangerous Salvador Perez, who is not only running like a 180 WRC plus this year, 140, something really good, but he has been a Mariner killer as well in his career, and he strikes him out on 3 pitches. Welcome back, Gabe Spire. Tremendous outing from him. Ryan Stanek, nice inning in the 7th, 1, 2, 3. A nice play there for the last out in the 7th. The ball goes off of Ty France. Great play by Josh Rojas. Fields it. Good job by Stanek to cover. Flips it over to Stanek for the out. So nice job by Ryan Stanek. And again, like I said, you guys know I've been critical of Stanek. I think Stanek's fine. I have no issues with Ryan Stanek. My issue is more Ryan Stanek as your top reliever behind Munoz. Same with like Trent Thornton and stuff like that. I think all these guys in this bullpen are valuable, solid pitchers. It's just that I would like one more, just guy that is just missing bats and a hard throwing, right, lefty, righty. I don't really care. I think they're missing one person without Brash and Santos, but nice job by Stanek. Austin Voth comes in, runs into a little bit of trouble the 8th. I actually didn't see the 8th. I'm going to look up what the play-by-play was here, because Voth came in the top of the 8th. And again, like you're having to go to Austin Voth, top of the 8th. Freddie Fermin, bunt single, so that's, a little, not, I don't want to say bad luck, but, it's a bunt single. Isbell flied out. Frazier hit the double down the line. I did see that. And then they went to Munoz. Witt grounded out, and Pasquantino struck out. So the Frazier double, yeah, the Fermin bunt hit, that's kind of on the defense, has got to be ready there to make a play, essentially. So again, like Voth is fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Austin Voth 8th inning is not my cup of tea of what I want. And then Munoz has to get the 5-out save, and Munoz, obviously comes in and then close out the 9th. Munoz goes an inning and 2/3, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. I'll say it again. Andres Munoz is absolutely back. Again, he was not bad last year by any stretch of the imagination. He was still really good. But we are seeing 2022 Andres Munoz, which is like best reliever in the planet. And truthfully, honestly, like with all my talk about adding a bullpen arm, if Munoz stays healthy and can do this, you may actually not need one because that's how good Munoz is. But you need to give him a little bit of reprieve, right? Like now last night, it ended up not mattering because Gilbert gives up the home run. But what would they have done in that game? And it did matter because I think Gilbert would have been removed if you had Brash or Santos healthy. So that's where it's going to come into play in situations like that. If you can get another reliever, it's going to allow you to use Munoz even in that 7th inning. Last night, maybe you go to Andres Munoz there and say, hey, get me the out. Then if the offense can add on, you can go to Austin Adams in the 8th inning or Spire and then work it like that as well. So, but great outing by Munoz. He is absolutely back. Offensively, Josh Rojas, 1-for-4, had that RBI single in the 7th, which extended the lead. Clutch. Again, like Rojas has maybe cooled off a little bit, but every time I look at the box score, he's at least reached base once a game, once per game. Julio, 2-for-4, a couple solid base hits, did have some base running mistakes. I know they want him not sliding head first, but he's having trouble with the feet first slide. He came off the bag and that stolen base attempt, then he got picked off later in the game. I think Jake from Raise the Trident said it. Julio getting picked off at least means Julio's on base, so that's a good sign. I can laugh it off when they win, but those are plays that are going to be frustrating if you end up losing some games. I think the caught stealing is just Julio getting used to sliding feet first. The pickoff is just kind of something that happens, but good to see a couple hits from Julio. Again, singles, but that's 2-for-4 is a 500 on base percentage, so that's good. It's also good to see Julio, they're line drive singles. They're not just ground balls through the hole. Well, listen, there's going to be hits where you just hit ground balls and get hits. That's fine. But earlier in the year, Julio was not elevating the ball at all, and he's starting to do it now. So good to see from Julio. Mitch Haniger, 1-for-3 with the walk. It was a single, so Haniger on base twice. DHing today, getting Dom Canzone back is going to help with that. Not that I think Canzone is necessarily a great fielder. I thought the Frazier bloop is maybe a play that Haggerty makes a catch on, to be perfectly honest. Or even, Luke Raley in left field there. But, the key is to keep Mitch Haniger healthy and contributing to the team. And when you get JP back here on this road trip, it sounds like JP will get activated. You can give Mitch those days off. You can DH him with Mitch Garver being out. You can give Mitch Garver a day off and have Haniger DH. So, good to see Mitch in the DH role and a couple good games for Mitch. He reaches base, 5 times in the last 2 games. So nice game for Mitch Haniger. Rivas pinch ran for him and scored a run, which will probably be his last appearance. He'll likely be going down for JP. Cal goes 1-for-4. With that single in the 2nd inning. Luke Raley is red hot, 2-for-4. He had the single in the 1st inning, in the 2nd inning, which it didn't score Cal, put runners at the corners. Then he has the RBI double in the 8th. Again, not only is it great to see Luke, well, it wasn't a double, it was a single because he was thrown out at second. Boy, Mariners made 3 outs on the bases tonight. That's not great. But, and I don't mind Raley going for second. They're a little dangerous because the run could have not counted, but if you're trying to get in scoring position, keep opening that game. So no problem with it. But not only is it great to see Luke Raley getting a big hit to add on, right? Because even at 3-2, Royals put runners at the corners with 1 out in the 9th. If that game is 3-2, it might have been a different result because maybe I forgot who was up there. MJ Melendez, has a little bit different approach because he's trying to get that run in there, first and foremost. So big hit from Raley. Great to see him add on, and just great to see Luke Raley heating up. And I think you're seeing consistent at-bats helping Luke Raley. Early in the year when he was struggling, he was getting like 3 at-bats a week. And I'm not blaming Scott. Canzone had the great spring training. They roll with Dom Canzone out of the gate. I do think you maybe could have given Haniger a couple days off, but guess what? Guess who started the season red hot? Canzone had the hot spring training. Mitch Haniger started the regular season red hot. So you don't want to take that bat out of the lineup. It's on fire. But Raley's getting some playing time here, and he's really turned it on and been a great player for the team. Ty France, 1-for-4 at the home run. Yeah, Ty leaves the runners on the 2nd inning, but makes up for it with the home run later. Again, like Ty's numbers aren't where we want it to be, but the power's coming back a little bit for Ty, his 4th home run. I thought he had a good at-bat last night in the 8th to get a hit. Did he have a home run in the first game of the series? Yeah, he did. He had the home run to extend to 6-2. So Ty's at least, again, is Ty's overall numbers where we want our first baseman to be? No, but he's starting to play better. He's starting to hit a little bit better, and at least you're not getting black hole type production. You're getting something out of Ty France. And again, we can call for an upgrade at first base, and that may need to happen here, but it ain't happening tomorrow, and it's probably not happening for another month. So the best thing for the Mariners right now is what they're getting from Ty the last couple games and continue to see Ty France hit. Canzone 1-for-3 with that double down the line. I think that was in the 7th. And then Rojas scored him on the base hit. So good to see Dom back and getting his bat in the lineup. Dylan Moore 0-for-2 at the walk, and probably what will be his, not last game at shortstop overall, but last game here as your starting shortstop because JP will be back. Urias had a rough day, 0-for-3. Did get the run in on the fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. I think you could have given him a hit for that. It was hit fairly hard. Frazier bobbles it a little bit. I get it, but I think that could have been considered an infield hit for Urias, and then makes the throwing error in the ninth inning. Unfortunately, makes a great play on the ball, funny enough, but on a tough hop, but then throws it away. Urias cooling off a little bit. And again, he's getting a little overexposed. We talked about that with Dylan Moore, right? Like him playing every day is tough because it just, you see where he's a good player, but then you see him overexposed, getting a ton of at-bats against righties. Kind of the same thing with Urias here now with Polanco being out and JP still being out. He's having to play every day against righties and lefties, and I think he's just getting overexposed a little bit. Getting JP Crawford back, and then hopefully, actually JP is not really going to affect Urias as much, but it will because Dylan Moore can play some second, and Rojas can play third. But getting Polanco back will be the key there, and allowing Urias to fall back into his role. Great win for the Mariners against a good Royals team. Not only is that a team that's much improved over last year, it's actually a team I talked about last year I thought could be better because they were just so terrible at pitching. And it was like, if they could just get like league average starting pitching, like it made sense for them to go get a Michael Wacha, and pay him a lot of money. I don't think Wacha's amazing, but he's a middle number 4 starter. To them, what they had last year, that is absolutely a massive, massive upgrade for them. Paying Seth Lugo made a ton of sense, and I like Seth Lugo, made a ton of sense for them. They were a team that truly just needed to get like, 4, I'm trying to think of what the definition of like a league average pitcher is, of course, Mike Leakes, they needed 4 Mike Leakes in their rotation. And they've taken a big step forward because they're a pretty good offensive squad. And, the bullpen's better. It's still not great, but it's better. And yeah, it's an improved team. It's a team we might see in the playoffs, and he took 2 out of 3 from them. And a good homestand. He took 2 out of 3 from an A's team that's, again, I don't think very good. I think you're going to see them drop off, but certainly better than the 106, 107 losses, whatever it was a season ago. So a nice homestand for the Mariners, 4-2. They'll remain in first place. Let's check the scores real quick around the AL West. I'll just go through. Texas is up 2-0 on Cleveland. Houston's getting hot. They're up 3-0 on Oakland. Houston's starting to get it dialed in. Looks like they're going to sweep the A's. I forgot what they did their previous series, but Houston's starting to get together a little bit. So, watch out. They're not going to go away without a fight here for sure. And then I don't really care what the Angels did because the Angels are not going to be a threat to you in the division. They are up 1-0. Doesn't mean they can't still be pesky and give you fits, but they are not going to win the division. So Mariners will likely head into their road trip with a, what are they at in the stand? Let's just pull it up real quick here. They're currently 2 up on Texas, so minimum 1.5 game lead on Texas heading into their road trip. So yeah, let's go get it. Let's get tough road trip, but should be fun. Good test for the Mariners against Baltimore and the Yankees, and a Nationals team that's playing much better baseball as well. Have a great night, everybody. I'll get to the Q&A tomorrow, so if you have any questions you want to drop, head over to that community tab and drop them in there. You can put them in the comments here, but I may have trouble going through because I get a lot of comments in the post game. So I'd recommend in the community tab because I can just put them all together there and see them. Have a great night, everybody. Drop a comment what you think of this team so far. Hit that like button. Don't smash it because I don't want you to break anything, but hit like. And then if you're new or lurking, hit subscribe. Have a great night, everybody. Go Mariners. Peace.